I think all of it pieces together. I think if you're investing most of your money, it continues to grow. If you're saving enough, it gives you peace of mind. If you're keeping your living expenses at 20%, it gives you enough money to do everything else, but it allows you to live a comfortable life. And then the last final 10% is on luxury. It rewards you because you need to stimulate your dopamine system somehow, right? By not rewarding yourself, by continuing to hold it in, you lose motivation.
Right.
But the second you give yourself a little like a dog, if you tell him to do something, he does it for a while, but if you're not giving him a treat after he does it, he's gonna stop. So human beings, we're animals in the same way, that if you give yourself a treat every once in a while, you're like, ooh, when you continue to pursue that behavior where you get that treat.
Right. I always look at it as like it's a release.
Yeah.
You know, so you need that. You need that in order to keep going. And everybody has their different sort of stuff. And for the people who are constantly like they're in the rat race, right? And you can't seem to figure out what it is that you're into. That's where that percentage of money can go towards. Find out what you like. Take that salsa class. Go to that game. Perhaps go to that dating event. Go to that restaurant. Try different activities to figure out what it is that you're into, because you don't want to be that person who you're having that midlife crisis because you have no clue who you are or what you're actually interested in.
I think the issue with a lot of people though, and this is why it goes down to just making more money. The issue with a lot of people, I said this on my live stream, I shared my budget, and people were saying like, oh, it's impossible because I'm living check to check. So their living expenses are 90% of what they make already. And the issue there, it's like, one, you're either living way too much, right? You're living by yourself when you should have a roommate. You are spending way too much like, here's a great example. Someone lives in California, your rent's gonna be expensive.
Oh yeah.
Someone lives in Miami, your rent's gonna be expensive. Move to freaking Texas. Yeah. Move to Omaha, Nebraska. You know, your rent's gonna get cut in half, if not a quarter. Yep. Then you can get closer to that number. It's either that's one option. The other option is you start a business, you start making more money. Those are the two options you have as far as.
Or you pick up another job, that too, but then you'll have lower amount of time, but then you'll actually increase your wages and your income. So
the tough part about getting a job is like you run out of energy.
That is true.
Energy and time are finite, and then like I think if you work so many hours, eventually you just start to burn out.
But then you will burn out.
Is real.
But if you tell yourself, and that's why it's important to plan as well, because if you now have that budget planning, you can say, all right, I'll pick up another job, but I'll only work for a set period of time. Because a lot of times people will pick up two jobs, they're burning themselves out, they have no goal in mind. And I love how you brought up, all right, you say you're living in a certain location, your living expenses are so astronomically high, whatever money that you have remaining, you can't do anything with it. So then you're now like, okay, it's impossible to try to have a percentage go towards luxury. Well, have you ever considered the fact that maybe your luxury can be taken into account a year down the line? You just have to sacrifice now. Like everything with the budgeting plan, you're not gonna always be able to take advantage of it immediately. Sometimes you'll have to wait. And it goes back to what we talked about a few episodes back where we were talking about, well, you have to work your way towards earning that vacation, earning that luxury meal, earning that luxury event.
Well, anything nice in life is always earned.
It's always earned.
Anything nice in life is always earned. There's no sort of luxury that's free. And that's just the
everything
fact
comes at a cost,
right? Like
everything comes at a cost.
Everything comes at a cost. Here's a great example, right? I think being able to eat junk food is a luxury. It's a luxury, but how do you earn that luxury? You earn it by working out a bunch. Because let's say you're someone that has a six-pack, you're 10% body fat, you can afford a luxury of going and eating McDonald's, splurging, right? That's a luxury you've earned. So I think it correlates to every aspect of your life.
You create the wiggle room that exists there. And then the people who are living paycheck to paycheck, set up a plan, identify what your goals are at that point, and say, all right, if I pick up another job, how much more money will I have at the end of the year? Then, if it's a proximity issue from wherever it is that you reside, you might have to get that culture shock. You might have to go somewhere else. You might have to downsize. If you're living in this house now, if you're somebody who's a family person, you have children, you have a spouse, whatever the case is, you have to now be honest with yourself. What kind of life do you want to lead for not only yourself, but then also your offsprings, for your spouse, whatever the case is? Identify those goals, budget accordingly. If you not have to have that uncomfortable conversation like, hey, honey, these purses, you're gonna have to cut down. If you're gonna have to, if she's the breadwinner and she's like, he's at stay at home, that, hey, listen, these gaming consoles, you're gonna have to, cut down or whatever the case is, or you're gonna have to go downsize. Maybe with your children, if there's a particular extracurricular activity, no disrespect for the, you wanna have your children in as many possible scenarios so where they can try different things, but if you have to cut down on them playing football or them being part of the basketball team or something like that for a small set period of time, you got to do what you got to do to get to the goals and what you want to go. So then for the people who are at the paycheck to paycheck, identify a goal, set up the budget, and even if there's a cutoff period, just say if it's 12 months, 12 months or 36 months, you just say, all right, I'm gonna grind for this period of time, and then the payoff will come after the fact.
And a big part of that too is you have to figure out what your non-negotiables are.
Right.
And you have to adjust your, either how much you make or your budget to that. If your non-negotiable is, hey, me and my wife need to go on a date every single week, you better make more money in order to make that possible.
Exactly.
Because something has to give. You can't have everything. Something is always gonna have to give. So it's either you choose to make more money, right? Or you choose to give up that date night, but you can't have it both ways.
Right.
So that's why when I say pick your non-negotiables, you have to determine what's important to you. Because you said, like, for me, my kids are gonna do activities, no doubt in my mind, right? They're gonna do martial arts, they're gonna play sports, they're gonna do this stuff. I'm always gonna have them in that.
Right.
And I refuse to negotiate on that because I think it builds like culture in the kids, it builds like a sense of responsibility, a sense of duty, a sense of discipline.